You've worked hard to build a dream retirement. Now it's time to put that plan into action. This is Retire ATL with Aaron Vincent and Matt Decker. The team at Vincent Financial wants to help you build, protect, and grow income to get you to and through retirement. Now, Retire ATL with Aaron Vincent and Matt Decker.
This is the Retire ATL podcast, all powered by the Vincent Financial Group. You can get more when you visit retireatlradio.com. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for downloading. Now, let's get to the show. My name is Mark Owens. Gentlemen, 3 key pillars that we talk about every weekend here: tax planning, risk management, and income. Let's talk about your 401k with some income. Good way to start?
Love it. Let's do it.
So it was created, 401k, created back in the 80s. All right, go ahead and actually me right there. It was actually created when?
1978.
Well, actually, Mark.
But it wasn't put in place until, I believe, 80. Yeah. The legislation was passed in 78.
The point was to defer taxes on certain income, not as a primary retirement plan, but for many Americans, that's what it's become. So the big question is the 401k dead? I want you to hear this clip from Charles Payne, who told Fox Business.
I don't know that it's dead. I will say, though, that the 401k hasn't lived up to the hype. And I think that's one of the problems, right? And every year they come out and they'll say we have this many 401k millionaires, right? And it sounds like a huge number. Cool. Then you say, well, how many people have a 401k? And it's like 0.03% of everyone with one. So the promise was that if you just put this money in, it was going to end up being worth a lot of money. And I don't know that it's dead, but I think people have to approach it differently. And I think they're starting to, particularly like the 60-40 portfolio. I think that's a huge mistake. On the 40 side, 40% in bonds, I think is just a massive mistake at this point.
Aaron Vincent, Matthew Decker, is the 401k dead, or does it need a revamp, or is it going pretty good?
It sounds like it's all over the place. We started talking about 401ks there, and then we ended talking about
took a sharp turn to bonds.
The 60-40 portfolio in bonds. The 401k, I know a lot of people like to dog on the 401k. And we've talked often about the educational workshops that we do all over the Atlanta metro area. If you're interested, let us know. We probably have one near you coming up in the next month or so. 770-741-0120. You can text that number, seminar. We'll send you the locations, the times, and the dates. But one of the things that we talk about in those workshops is the idea of the difference between a 401k and a pension. And we ask, who here has a pension? And every once in a while, a hand or two will go up. If we get 3 or 4 hands, that's a lot in a crowd that size. And inevitably, most people, the ones who don't raise their hand, are sitting there thinking, well, I wish I had one of those.
Must be nice.
John in the front row there, must be nice for him. Like, he's got a pension. I just got this 401k.
He's going to keep getting paid for the rest of his life. I'm not.
Exactly. And so I understand why people are down on the 401k. It does require more work out of you, right? You have to actually go in and you have to choose how much you're going to save. Mm-hmm. Now, that's one component. And so if Aaron elects to defer 10% of his paycheck and I elect to defer 3% of mine, and we make the same amount of money, Aaron's probably going to have more money than me.
I'm going to win.
Now, is that the 401k's fault? Or is that my fault?
That's your fault.
Okay. If we both decide to defer the same amount of money, he's going to defer 10 and I'm going to defer 10. We make the same amount of money, but Aaron goes in and actually sets his allocations. He builds a growth portfolio. He goes into that 401k and he thinks, let me find the riskiest, highest flying allocations in this thing and let me try to do something cool. Might as well. I can't touch it for 30 years anyway, so let me go try and take a bunch of risk. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, I never go into my 401k account. I never set my election, and it sits in a money market fund for 30 years. Who's going to have more money? Aaron is. Now, is that the 401k's fault, or is that my fault? That's my fault.
Right.
The reality is the 401k, it's nowhere near dead, number one. There are issues with it, but most of the issues with the 401k are more around, the burden is on me to actually go in and make some smart choices for myself. And depending on whether or not I attended the HR luncheon where they explained my 401k, maybe the person doing it didn't do a good job, or I don't know what my options are, it falls on me to make those good decisions. But the real world example is this. If you are diligent about your savings and you decide, I'm going to put a bunch of money away into my 401k and I'm going to go try to take some good risk in this 401k because I know it's a long-term deal, 20, 30 years, you should end up with more money and in a better position than the person who has a pension. The problem is you have to actually take action, and you have to actually use it the way that it's supposed to be used. So I don't think it's anywhere near dead. I don't know what you think, Aaron.
No, anyone who thinks it's dead, I would just say, what in the world are you looking at? I mean, we see, I don't know if this is an official stat, but I would definitely say it's the stat that we see. I mean, a huge majority of all the people that we talk to in our office, the majority of their money is in a 401k or an IRA, which used to be a 401k, So the fact that it's dead, I think is... and
we're talking large sums of money.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and even recently, we had somebody in our office. We'll call him Victor from Vinings.
I like that.
Hypothetical Victor from Vinings. This is
It's
actually
like V for Vendetta.
a real person, but, his name removed for protection's sake, of course. But he came in our office, and he's mid-50s, and he had stocked away several $1 million already. Into
How many severals of millions?
A 401k. It was more than $4 million.
Wow.
Yeah, he was only early to mid-50s.
It's dead.
It
dead. Doesn't work.
It's obviously dead. He only has $4 million in it. He's 50-something years old. So it's clearly not dead, number one. I mean, he had a great career, still in it, and he put away a lot of money and got a great match. That's the other thing about a 401k. A lot of them have a company match. Your company is, rather than kind of going back to the way things were late 70s, early 80s when this whole thing started, there was the pension. And the pension, all the onus and all of the responsibility and all of the cost was on the employer to manage these pensions. And that's a big deal. It's a lot of cost and a lot of heavy lifting involved there. And so they put the emphasis or the responsibility on the actual employee. Well, it's not dead. It's working for Victor. But here's the reality, though. Here's something to be aware of. He's ready to. He's done enough. He's saved enough money in his 401k, he and his wife, that they can retire early.
I would think so.
They can
Over
certainly
$4 million.
Yeah. The lifestyle they want to live and the goals that they have, they can hang it up today and be good for the rest of their life. I don't care how long they live.
I feel like there's a problem coming.
There is a problem. That's good news, right? That's really great news. Okay, good for those folks. The downside is this. Well, he's several years away from the age of 59 and a half, which is that birthday, that really important, random, kind of strange half birthday that a lot of us aren't aware of. If he accesses any of that money prior to that birthday, which is still like 6 years away for him, he's going to pay hefty penalties on that money, let alone the taxes. So that money is kind of locked up. Now,
with one caveat.
There's at least one caveat. There are some ways, some creative ways, some ways within the tax code that you're allowed to access those funds early, but you don't get to set the rules for how much you take out and how often and when you stop or when you start. It's once you flip that switch and you begin to withdraw, you're along for the ride. So there are a lot of detail. If you want to access your 401k early, you have an option or two, but just know that they're pretty stringent.
Yeah.
There's not a whole lot of flexibility in those options. In his case, we've done some measurements and some calculations, and that arrangement, it's called a 72T for those of you who are wondering, just didn't really work for him. So back to square one, he's amassed a huge amount of money in a relatively short period of time, and he can't really even use it yet because it's subject to pre-59 and a half rules. He'd be paying penalties on top of taxes just to get his money out. So is the 401k dead? Absolutely not. It's a great way to accumulate savings and to invest that and even get an employer match. What a wonderful thing. Get some free money. Just be aware. It's a tool. It's a great tool, but just know there may be some limitations if that's where all your money is.
Are you using it the right way? Is it allocated the way that it should be allocated? Are you investing into the right account? Like a lot of people have Roth 401k or traditional 401k. Which one should you be using? It's hard to know, but I would encourage you, if that's you, maybe you don't know if your mix in your 401k is right, or maybe it's been a long time since you've looked at how it's actually invested because it's just out of sight, out of mind. I would encourage you to give us a call. This is something that we do as a part of our Portfolio X-Ray, 770-741-0120. Again, 770-741-0120. We do all that at no cost just to make sure that you're on the right track.
You said something really important, Matt, that I want to make sure we cover, and that is, the Roth 401k idea. Now, if we were in one of our educational seminars, if we were in a room full of people, I'd ask for a show of hands. I would say, who here has the option to contribute to a Roth 401k with your provider? And
you get a hand or two.
Yeah, there may be a few confident hands, and then a couple more sheepish ones like, I think and then a bunch who are like, I don't have a freaking clue.
Yep.
And that, I think, is a perfect window into what is part of the problem with 401k is, look, we all know HR and employer-sponsored retirement plans, and that's the last thing. Like, you're working and you got a busy schedule and you may have kids that you're raising, you got other responsibilities and all this stuff going on. You're trying to get to the Braves game tonight, all that stuff. The last thing you want to do is call your HR person to set a meeting to talk about 401k contribution options. But if you have a Roth 401k option in your plan and you could allocate money that way, that could be a way to make some huge strides from a tax perspective. We haven't even gotten into the tax issues with the 401k. We've talked about some of the limitations of, accessing your money early if you need it. We've talked about other limitations, but, if all of your dollars are going into the tax deferred bucket that we often call it.
Just your traditional IRA.
Just your traditional
401k.
IRA, traditional 401k, meaning that you've not paid any tax on this money yet. You're putting money away pre-tax and you're making a handshake deal with the IRS. And you're saying, listen, you're going to give me a little bit of a tax break now. Appreciate that. And I'll pay you whatever taxes you want me to pay you later. You tell me the terms later whenever I take the money out. That's basically what you've set yourself up for. And I'm not saying that's always a bad thing in every way, but what I am saying is if all of your dollars are in that category, you're probably in for a huge surprise later, one that you may not be excited to see.
Totally agree. We should also add, for those of you that are hoping to retire early, Aaron mentioned 72T, but if you have separated from service or you're contemplating separating from service and you're 55 or older, there may also be some ways that you can access those dollars without penalty. But again, if that's you, maybe you've done a great job saving for retirement, you're in your mid-50s, you're thinking about retiring early, and you're just looking at that balance, and it's not all yours, and you're not 59 and a half, and so you say, well, there's nothing I can do. That may not be true. And wouldn't you actually want to know?
Exactly.
If you could, wouldn't you want to know? Give us a call, 770-741-0120.
Another idea or example is this may not only apply to people who are trying to actively retire early. Maybe you just got the news that the company that you've worked for, that your 401k is with, there's been some merger or acquisition, they've been bought, and you're being asked to retire or you're being suggested to leave at a very specific date. It's already been decided for you.
Some of you out there are praying for that right now.
That's right. And look, maybe you'll get a severance package. Maybe, who knows? But there are a lot of people who, like our guy from Vinings, who want to retire, Victor, who want to retire early. Some of you out there might be forced to retire early, and you may still be in a situation where all of your savings is in a pot of money you can't access yet. We should talk. You may have some options.
Insurance products are offered through the Insurance Business Advanced Planning Group. Vincent Financial Group is an investment advisory practice that offers products and services through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor. IPW does not offer insurance products. The insurance products offered by Advanced Planning Group are not subject to investment advisor requirements. Advanced Planning Group and IPW are not affiliated companies. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Any references to protection, safety, or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investments. Insurance guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims-paying abilities of the issuing carrier. This podcast is intended for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as the sole basis for financial decisions, nor should it be constructed as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual situation. Vincent Financial Group is not permitted to offer, and no statement made during this show shall constitute tax or legal advice. Our firm is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any governmental agency. The information and opinions contained herein provided by third parties have been obtained by sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed by Vincent Financial Group. This podcast is a paid placement.